you're doing this, my advice is make sure you know what you're doing and where your case is at and all the information is in there. Because if you ask for them to do that and push to make a decision, and let's say you have 5 doctors, but not all of the doctors submitted medical records, maybe only 3, then they're going to make a decision without all the evidence. It's what you asked them to do, right? So be careful about that. But representatives work great. I'm in Vermont. Bernie Sanders I use for contacting Social Security for business related items with them, because what you probably experience as an applicant, working with Social Security as a disability representative is just it's tough. So they do work. So those are a few tips on that.
Yeah. So, what if you applied on your own and you're thinking about getting representation? And I get asked this question a lot,
Mhm.
by members. What can you do for me? I mean, what's the point of having you represent me at this level
Right.
now that I've done the work, applied and everything?
Well, clearly people don't need one, especially here at the Disability Digest. We provide you with a disability approval course. And if you execute it flawlessly, then you've done a good job. But there are some things that representatives that do this work and what I call full service work, that what they can do that is just resources that an individual applicant doesn't have, or the skills that they don't have. So some of those would be if you're at the initial application and maybe you're at 60 or 70% and you're like, oh, I'm going to wait it out. Again, you can definitely do that. But what the representative can do is they can actually look into your case file and they can see what Social Security has. And what they should do if you have somebody doing this work is they should review that, and then they should write a case theory or a brief to Social Security to explain why you're disabled. Here's one of the challenges with cases. There's an abundance of medical records. Like we had a veteran that we just came to us. He had thousands of pages of medical evidence, and it's glaringly apparent when you sift through it. You can see the notations of how severe it is, but he basically backed up his car and just dumped all this stuff on Social Security. I don't think that they took the time to go through and sort it out. So what a disability representative can do is can look at the case file, write a legal brief or a case summary to Social Security, make sure all the medical records are in the file, contact the case manager directly because they have the channel to do that, make sure that you have doctor's support on file in writing. And those are key things that even if you've done all the work and you've submitted everything, that it's difficult to emulate and do that with just going through the application process once versus, like a legal team that does it all the time. So increase your odds for sure.
Yes, and I am a big believer in seeking professional help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Right.
personal choice for people. I mean, a lot of people are just stuck financially, and if
Yeah.
they can pull it off and just use the course, it's great. But yeah,
But I mean, you can, on a different perspective, you can think about it. What's the harm of getting or of the possibility of paying the 7,200?
right. Well, right. That's a good point. What I believe a lot of people don't understand is really what they're getting, because the average
Yeah.
benefit package is $447,000. If you look at this money over the lifetime of an average applicant, and so 7% is I forget what the exact percentage was, but it pales
Right.
in comparison. Um, so, all right, good questions. What's next?
Yes. So what else can I do? And what is my case status?
Okay.
So what else I can do is mostly pertaining to evidence. How can I present evidence that proves I am unable to work?
Yeah. Well, this is a good one. So let's stay on this. It depends how deep somebody wants to dive into it, but for evidence, doctor support, there's definitely forms that you can have filled out that are called residual functional capacity reports. That confirms that your doctor is treating you, what their opinion is on your limitations, and if you can work. They're forms that Social Security recognizes. It's easy for them to read because they're used to seeing them all the time. So, if your doctor says, "Oh, I'm going to fill out a different one for you," well, that's nice, but it's not ideal. So that's one. Two, there's other evidence that people can put in their case file that they're not aware of, like in a simple Zoom meeting or with a phone. Somebody could take a video of their limitations, and maybe they have sit-stand limitations or they have mobility limitations. They have to walk with assistance, something like that. My computer screen is kind of wigging out. Is anybody else's?
No, but
Okay.
I think
Now,
it's else.
now it's back. All right.
Okay.
So you can add that. Now, if you're using a disability representative, you can take the video and the media file and you can present it to them, and they can put it in your case file. If you're just a regular doing this on your own, I don't know how you can get digital information into your case file because you don't have access to the actual case file. Your My SSA account just shows you progress. So
Right.
those are some things that you can do. You can get third-party testimonials from other, past workers, family members that can write statements for you.
Okay.
So we talked about evidence. Oh, case status. That was the next
Yeah.
one, right? You hit me with two questions at once. Um, the best place to find out your case status is in your My SSA account. It updates before you receive anything in mail. It updates if you're using a representative. The information shows there first. So, like when you get awarded, there's a benefit statement that pops up, which is always great for people to see. So check there first. If you don't have access to your My SSA account, and you're doing this on your own, then you're subject to either calling your representative, who then in turn has to turn around and contact Social Security, or you call your case manager directly, right? So those are the ways in which you can find out your case status. You guys have some good questions.
Thanks.
Thank you. I think that's it for me.
All right. All right. Does anybody ever ask you, like, how much am I going to get paid?
Oh,
Mm,
yeah.
They do?
They're check them out.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do.
They do ask that?
They
Yeah,
do.
it's interesting. I've met people that have been in the application process for months. They have no idea what they're going to get paid. Um, Two quick tips on that. And if you don't know your check amount, you should definitely find it out. If you haven't applied, you can go into your My SSA account and look under the estimated benefits tab. If you've already applied, they removed that feature. Why? I have no idea. So you'd need to talk to your case manager to find out. All right.
Okay.
So is that like the first chunk of questions that we have? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. So, all right. Well, let's move on to part two. Jam, what are some of the questions that you are getting from members?
Yeah. So one of the challenges that people face is the wait
Hmm.
in surviving the wait. So this could be
Surviving the wait. Yeah. Yeah, it could
getting
be two and
approved,
a half years.
how long or how far the process can go on.
Mm-hmm.
And during this time, people may experience anxiety, frustration, uncertainty, which can be difficult to cope with.
Exactly. Relationship challenges, financial challenges.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in my, years of doing this, the very best advice that I have is do everything you can to win your case quick. Don't follow the advice of the guy or gal who says, just apply on your own, you're going to get denied anyway. Do your research and find a strategy that you're comfortable with. And, it would be wonderful if it's here using our course or getting help doing it, but it could be there's a lot of other people that do this work that it's great. So get some guidance to go through it. That's number one in surviving the wait is win quick, because the percentage of approval at initial application, what you saw on the screen, I can confidently say in the last 48 months here, our numbers are significantly more than that. I don't share what they are in public. And so that can make a big difference because you're getting paid in like 7 months. So that's one. Even before that, if you're out there and you're listening to this full time and you're working full time or working more than 30 hours a week, you can solve the problem right now if you don't have disability income insurance, is to get that. You can get disability income insurance for $150 a month that can pay you 60% of your salary if you're in the $50,000 range. And I mean, right? And that can help you get through. So those are two tips. You can get much deeper. We have other information. There's resources that help people, with some of their finances and fuel assistance and cell phones, but they're not game changers. They're not massive money movers like the two that I just shared with you.
Yeah, but still, it's like a bridge, to survive the wait.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's tough.
Mhm.
All right, Jam. Good question.
Yeah. So another one would be, um, another one challenge is the argument if you get denied, you do not appeal.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
mhm. So that's another challenge that people may face or have faced, being denied the approval for SSDI.
Hmm.
And it's either because they don't know how to proceed or because they feel it would be pointless. And this
Uh,
can be disheartening, especially if the person feels like they were unfairly denied.
yeah. It's a good question. I don't know the numbers, but I know it's pretty significant, those that are denied and don't appeal. My advice is, yeah, to definitely appeal it. Here's my opinion. I think when it comes down to it, and you're looking at the disability process, I encourage everybody to just have the mindset just to get in the game and stay in the game and keep moving forward. And if you find that you can go back to work, great. But the statistics, as I shared with you, you can get approved at the initial application, but you could have some new, individual that's reviewing your case file that doesn't know, what's going on, and that could be the cause of it. So definitely appeal. Financially, this is important to note. If you got denied and did not appeal it, and then you go back and you want to pursue the process again, you have to start from the date of that denial. You cannot say that you were disabled, for example, the 7 months prior to that, because you applied and it was denied. They closed that period. Why is that important? Because every month that you can prove that you're disabled, you can actually get a check for that. So if it was 7 months at $1,500, I don't know, it's some money, like 10-ish grand.
Right.
You don't, you want to make sure that you understand that, and it doesn't take a lot to do the appeal. So for sure, yeah, a good. Listen, if you have been denied out there, if you get with somebody who's done this work, like you get on the phone with somebody here, they can tell you pretty quickly if you got a shot at this or not. I mean, and a lot of people just don't even do that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And another would be no treatment because they can't afford treatment. They don't have insurance. They
Right.
don't have access to healthcare and medical treatment. And that is a major challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some may be unable to afford the cost of treatment, which can lead to serious health problems if left
Hmm.
untreated. And in other cases, people may live in areas with limited access to healthcare providers or specialized treatments, making it difficult for them to receive the care they need.
Yeah. Yeah. This is really an issue. I want to go back to the part of your presentation, Jim, where you have, you go, you have limitations, and you seek treatment, and despite that treatment, you're not able to work. Um, two points on this. You need to demonstrate to Social Security that you are compliant is the word that they use, is that you're doing the best you can with the resources that you have access to address your situation. Um, and in most areas, there are, from the work that we've done and known, there are low cost, no cost clinics available that you can go to. And there are little known buckets of money, even all the way down to county assistance level, that you can get access to get you through. So if that's a challenge, then that's something that we can help point somebody to. Just not wanting to go to the doctors and not doing the doctors, or having conditions that you're not getting treated for, that's not okay. You really do need to play the game and get everything as best you can treated.
I have a question for persons. I've spoken to persons who are a bit skeptical about getting treatment, and then there are persons who have some adverse effects to their medication. In
Yes.
that case, what do they do?
Yeah, beautiful question. Um, so I'm going to go back to the compliance. Let's say that somebody is given um, a pain medication, and that pain medication, although it will numb their pain, makes their stomach upset, and it totally wipes out their cognitive ability. So their communication with their doctor and explaining why they don't want to take this and having that put in the notes will satisfy the compliance piece with it. Now, if they just go rogue and say, I'm not going to take it, and it's not in the notes, and then it comes down to where Social Security can look at it and say, well, listen, this is what you were prescribed, but you're not taking it. If you were, you'd feel better, blah, 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 blah. Right. So it's that physical therapy is another good one out, where people have gone to physical therapy and they're like, oh my God, that person hurt me so much. And it was such an effort to get there. I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't work.
Yeah, exactly.
They could
Exactly.
do more harm than, treat.
Yep. Yep. And for those of you that are out there listening to this, back to, what you need to prove, um, I want you to think about going to your doctors from a different perspective. Certainly go, but when you're there, communicate your limitations to your doctors, like your ability to sit, your ability to stand, bend, stoop, squat. If you have brain health conditions from PTSD or depression, like how are they impacting you? What are the triggers? What happens when you get a trigger? How long does it last? And write those down and bring those to your doctor's appointment, and ask them to put that in your medical record, and you want to monitor your progress on those. For example, if you're only able to stand for 15 minutes and you've been sent for physical therapy, and maybe you can get it where you can stand for 18 minutes. Who knows? But one is, it'll hold your doctor accountable, and it will give you some progress on your treatment. But most importantly, when Social Security looks into your medical records, they're going to see that you've been treated and that your doctor has noted your limitations. So that does a lot of the heavy lifting for you to get through the approval process. And if you're listening to this and you're already approved, then you definitely want to do it so you're prepared for your review. Sorry, I went off on a little tangent there, but I felt that was important.
That's all right. So another challenge would be to have all the required information Social Security needs. So when trying to get approved, people may encounter challenges related to having all the necessary information, specifically the work history.
All right. Right.
Yeah. And this can be frustrating and time consuming and may require the person to seek out all the additional resources
Yeah.
or assistance.
True. So are we talking about the checklist that Social Security has, the items that are required to apply? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Great point. And
No, they got overwhelmed when Social Security
overwhelmed.
sends them a pile of documents to sign or to
Yeah.
fill out.
Yeah. So 2 points here. When you start the process, expect to have information that you're going to need to provide about the general information is your doctors, your medications, your work history for the last 15 years, and they ask banking information, where your check is going to go. So the SSA checklist is online. We'll put links below this, but have that information. I would get it ready, prepared, and put it on a file on your computer or store it online in a Google document. Write it all down, and then so you have it there. Because when you start the process for Social Security, like Jam said, they're going to send you like a bunch of paperwork. And although you've submitted that information, a lot of the information that they're asking for, they've already asked for. It's like a credibility check. So that can help
Yeah,
you.
so it's important that you make a copy of your own when filling out those forms.
That's right. That's right. Yep. Yep. And regarding the forms and the questions to answer, yes, they are intimidating. In our disability approval course, we provide you with the answers. It's an interview done with attorney Carl Osterhow, who goes through each question step by step and tells you what to put in there. It's like kind of like cheating on a test, I guess. That is like cheating on a test. Yeah. Yeah.
Not exactly, because you're not telling them exactly what to put.
All right. Good.
And so another challenge would be communication or technology. In today's
Yeah.
digital age,
Yeah.
communication and technology are essential to many aspects of daily life.
Mm-hmm.
However, not everyone has equal access to these resources, and those who do may encounter challenges related to language barriers, technical issues, or
Mm-hmm.
simply a lack of familiarity with certain platforms or tools.
Yep. Big problem. Let's see. If I'm thinking about unpacking this, one of the things that is tough for people is like they have phones that have call blocking on them. I've known people have their applications denied because they've had call blocking on them, and they've been trying to be reached by Social Security or their representative. So you need to get a communication plan in place and stable technology to do that. If you're not proficient with technology to do your initial application online, you need to take that into consideration. Maybe you can get somebody in your family to help you if you want to do it on your own. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say just to get good, smooth technology, because it's pretty much, it's unavoidable. Even if you do it over the phone, they're going to send you forms. You got to fill them out. You got to turn around, send them back in the mail. I guess that's kind of manual. But any other tips that you may have that for communication?
Mm, yeah, for communication, the lose, this is in our side as representative. They lose our emails or they don't
Yeah,
get track, um, keep track of our emails.
Yeah.
right.
So my advice would be to set up a folder so that and direct all emails from your
Yeah.
representative to that folder so you don't miss anything. You're updated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing I will add on this on the big picture is to get a communication plan. If you're working with a representative and you have the intent or you have a condition that dictates that you contact them daily, multiple times a day, calls, emails, then I am in a networking group with like 70 different people that do this work. It's really challenging. As much as they want to help you, they commonly will let you go. So, especially in today's environment. So, just understand that if you have a communication plan, send your message in, give fair time based on their guidelines of when you can expect a reply, if it's by email, by phone. But don't burn the relationship or do your very best to avoid that. Because as an applicant right now, there's maybe 500 people that do this disability work, and some do it better than others, just my opinion. And there's like 1.1 million applicants. So do the math. So just be good, be thorough.
Yeah, be respectful
Yep, exactly.
of the
Yeah.
workflow.
Hmm.
All right.
Wow,
And
these are
last but
great.
yes, and last but not the least would is bad advice. So people may encounter challenges related to receiving bad advice or guidance from
Hmm.
others, and
Hmm.
this can affect their mentality or perspective. And this can
Right.
be particularly problematic in
Yeah.
situations where the person is seeking help from a professional or in our case representative. Um, and it may lead to negative outcomes if the advice is incorrect or inadequate.
Yeah.
And it can also be challenging to identify when advice is bad, particularly if the person offering it seems, trustworthy or knowledgeable.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's probably the brother-in-law who knows everything, right? You
Yeah.
should do it this way because I know Jim at the bowling alley. He did this and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get those sometimes.
yeah, for sure. Get a process and stay with it for sure. Yeah, well, the thing about like online too, I mean, there's people out there that have different approaches. Like there's some very trustworthy disability representatives that do social media. I mean, they do things differently. So I can see where it can be confusing, but if you hire somebody to do a job, let them do the job.
Right.
Yeah. So my take on this would be not to listen to other people because it's a
Right.
case to case basis. So
Yeah.
just do your job, just focus on your own
Hmm.
case.
Hmm. Yeah. Good. Good. Okay. We missed anything? Anything else talked about in the list of questions?
That would be it for me.
No? Um, well, here at the Disability
Well,
Digest, one thing I do want to give a shout out to, if when you do get approved, is you definitely get back in touch with us. And even to peel it back a step further, I mean, if you're coming through and you're working with us on the approval course, let's say you start in the very beginning and you haven't applied, then that application gets denied. There's another segment of information. Let's say that gets denied. You've got to request a hearing. That's another segment of the course. So keep in touch with us and get back to us so that we can get you the updated information. And of course, when you get approved, let us know so we can congratulate you and then we can take you out of the workflow of information that's helping you get approved, to helping you keep your benefits, understand your award letter, when your review will be, things you can do to maximize your benefits. Right?
All right.
Good.
Mhm.
All right. Listen, in closing, Danielle, Jam, thank you very much for spending time today. And on behalf of everybody that's listened to this, you can look for the supporting links around here. If you're watching this and you're not a member, we encourage you to join us. It's really the best way that we can help you. Of course, you're welcome to listen to the hundreds of videos we have on our channel, but when you complete your evaluation and become a member, then there's no charge and you get laser focused information based on where you're at in the process. Maybe you applied and been denied, or you're approved, you're trying to keep or maximize your benefits. So that's the best way that we can help you. All right. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.